Hello. Good evening. My name is Erica Hesketh. I'm the director of the Poetry Translation Centre and the delighted editor of this beautiful book. A really warm welcome to the audience who's here in person and also to those joining us over the live stream. Hello. It's a pleasure to be together with you to launch Karin Karakaşlı's collection Real, which is the latest book in the PTC's World Poets series, which makes available extraordinary contemporary poets from Asia, Africa, the Middle East and Latin America in English translation. Publishing is just one of the activities of the PTC. We also make dual language events, organise a biennial literary prize, an artist development programme for young poets, and a translation workshop in person and online for people who want to have a go at translation themselves. As you might have guessed from my hat, we're celebrating a big birthday this year. The PTC turns 20, and we'll be having events and workshops throughout the year. So if this is your first encounter with us, please do visit our website to see what else is happening near you in 2024. So this book, Real, is the latest milestone in a journey that goes back at least 11 years. Back to 2013, when translator, writer, activist, superhuman Canan Marasligil first brought a poem by the Armenian-Turkish poet Karin Karakaşlı to a PTC workshop led by our founder, Sarah Maguire. Canan will tell you more about her relationship with Karin's poems, which goes back further than that, but it was from that moment in 2013 that the PTC knew we had to find an audience in English for this brilliant poet. In 2017, we published a chapbook of her poems, History, Geography, and we paired Canan with the British poet Sarah Howe to co-translate a short selection of Karin's poems. And this creative partnership was so moving and so enriching and produced such brilliant poems that 7 years later, here we are with another volume, Real, which explores Karin's themes of hope, survival, shifting and collapsing realities, liminal spaces and movement. The ideal book to launch on a boat, really. On a personal note, I have to tell you what an honour it's been to work with Canan and Sarah on this book and to witness their partnership once again. So thank you both for making it so very special. On publication, this book is already a Poetry Book Society translation choice, and we're so happy that it's starting to find its readers in English. Among them, the amazing Fran Lock, who described the poems as poems of rare imaginative courage, always evolving, always adapting, just one step of the world around them. Tonight we will hear readings from Real in Turkish by Karin, who will be joining us on Zoom from Istanbul. You'll see her in a moment, and in English by Canan and Sarah. And these three remarkable women will then be in conversation with Fran before taking some questions from the audience. I'm sure Fran Lock is known to you already, but to formally introduce her, Fran Lock is the author of 13 poetry collections, most recently Hyena from Poetry Bus Press, which was shortlisted for the T.S. Eliot Prize last year. She's the commissioning editor at the Radical Arts and Culture cooperative Culture Matters, and she edits a column for the Communist Review. So thank you so much for being here, Fran. We're really pleased to be launching this book at the Theatreship, our first event in partnership with this fabulous venue. Did you know that this ship was built in 1913 and had a very long career as a cargo vessel? And it would have been scrapped, apparently, but instead has found this new life as a not-for-profit art space. Situated here on the docks, in the gateway to one of the world's global cities, it couldn't be a more perfect venue to launch this beautiful questing book of poems in translation. So thank you very much to Theatreship and to Arts Council England, the Golson-Cott Foundation, can't forget anyone, T.S. Eliot Foundation, and the Garrick Charitable Trust for supporting our 20th birthday programme, which is this part of. A couple of practical things. Firstly, tonight's event is being photographed by Hayley, who's somewhere. And please let her know if you don't want to be any photographs. That will be fine. Or we're only going to be using them to share about the event, and the audience won't really be the focus of the photos, but just in case. Secondly, there will be some feedback forms at the end of the event, which are never very interesting, but it'll be so helpful to the PTC when we're reporting to our funders if we have feedback about our event. So please do help us by completing one, perhaps while you wait in line for Canan and Sarah to sign a copy of Real. Books will be on sale just outside this space, and the bar is open as well. So that's enough from me. Please join me in welcoming Fran Lock, who will introduce the rest of the event.
Thank you so much, Erica. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, and thank you so much for joining us for this, the UK launch of Real by the incredible Karin Karakaşlı, translated by Canan Marasligil and Sarah Howe. I am a big believer in the power of trinities, and this one is a force to be reckoned with. But before I fully introduce these wonderful writers, I did want to say a brief word about my own response to the text. Firstly, to explain / justify my presence here at all, and secondly, because I believe there is a profound and exciting poetic voice in Real that demands a wider audience and that deserves singing to the skies. Okay, so from the very first poem, also called Real, I felt an affinity with this collection. The speaker inhabits a land of endless transformations where the goalposts are always moving, and where the apparatus of state power connives at their erasure by baroque and sinister means. To exist in this world requires an endless adaptability, shape-shifting acts of survival and defiance. And the stanza that got under my skin sees the speaker declare that despite attempts to erase every letter of their name, they will write them over again. This ability, this counterpower, to assert and recreate the self just one step ahead of the world around us takes a rare imaginative courage. This ability is, I think, part of poetry's special promise. Language itself is an integral part of the systems that administer us, right? It's tied to the binding authority of the law. It contains and controls you. It tells you who matters, whose lives count. But within the space of the poem, language is alchemized and fired, made strange, becomes a savvy escapist, is the means of its own undoing. Karin's speakers revel in this magic. They traffic in transformation, creating themselves from reflections, refractions, and shadows, from mirage and from masks. In a world that is both familiar and strange, in a distorting vortex of anxiety and tall buildings, they dare to make a life. The poems in Real belong absolutely to the world. In the midst of its paint and hypocrisy, pumpkin, they are involved in the business of living. One of the qualities I found so compelling about these poems was that they seemed to be propelled by a tremendous nervous energy, a profound unease that is in itself an article of faith, a determination to watch and to listen to the lives left unfinished against their will. But also for those moments when life arrives, as in Split Ends, like a bustling marketplace. Karin's speakers are exquisite listeners, vigorous and tender and full of hope. They are watchers, witnesses, as the woman in the doorway, where an act of willed attention, the smoking speaker opens a contemplative space, a deep poetics of noticing, critically alert to all that besets us, but also expressing a care and recognition seldom afforded her poetic subjects as citizens in the world. There are so many arresting moments in these poems, and it's hard to know what to say, equally hard for me to know when to stop, but I will, you'll be pleased to hear, finish this introduction with just a small moment that had a big effect on me when I was reading it for the first time. So I was reading The Woman in the Doorway, and I got to where the speaker declares, "You drag your country behind you like a suitcase filled with pain." And this hit me like a wet brick to the face, I'm not going to lie. It's something to do with how the image of that suitcase concentrates and literalizes the loneliness, vulnerability, and precarity, the cumbersome weight of itinerancy, of not belonging. The behind you gave me that unwanted shame being trailed, a burden you don't want to look back at but can never be rid of. It's a feeling I know a version of for sure, although that's not what stayed with me about those lines. What I found was the more I returned to the poem, the more faceted the image became. Karin showed me how we are the complex repositories of our loss, how we bear the responsibility of memory as a burden, yes, but also as a fantastic gift. The poem is a continual revelation, is my point. Layered, as Canan says in their introduction, endlessly replenishing and surprising. All right, that's enough from me. I do hope that has whet your appetite as opposed to put you to sleep. Either way, these poetic powerhouses will wake you up. And it's my great pleasure now to introduce Karin Karakaşlı. She is an Armenian Turkish poet who writes in Turkish. She pens columns and opinion pieces regularly for independent media platforms. She is the author of 3 poetry collections as well as several short story collections and novels. She is the co-writer of the research book Armenians in Turkey, Community, Individual and Citizen. With the Poetry Translation Centre, she had previously published History and Geography, which I was very excited about. I didn't know about that. I was very excited, so now I can have another one as well. I'm going to buy one. I suggest you all do the same. She also translated by Canan Marasligil in collaboration with the poet Sarah Howe. Canan is a writer and literary translator. She works in English, French, Turkish, Dutch and Spanish. Just an all-round amazing person in the fields of literature, poetry, comics and cultural criticism. She is an advisor for Het Cultural Fund. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just going to power through. A private Dutch fund supporting culture and nature, and is a board member of the Dutch Writers Guild, championing literary translation and creating spaces for literary translators to thrive at the heart of their work. Canan shares new writing via the Attention Span newsletter and podcast. And Sarah Howe, my old poetry school comrade, Sarah Howe, is a British poet, academic and editor. Her first book, Loop of Jade, won the T.S. Eliot Prize in 2015 and the Sunday Times Young Writer of the Year award. Well deserved. She was born in Hong Kong to an English father and Chinese mother. She moved to England as a child. Her pamphlet, A Certain Chinese Alphabet, Tall Lighthouse, 2009, won an Eric Gregory Award from the Society of Authors. She has performed her work at festivals internationally on BBC Radio 3 and 4. She is the poetry editor at Chatham and Windus and a lecturer in poetry at King's College London. So I'd like you to join me in welcoming the speakers to the stage, and also Karin. Hi Karin, it's lovely to see you.
Hi, Fran. Thank you so much. Oh, I wish to be personally here just to hug you after so in-depth analysis. It was so moving. Hi, Sarah. Hey, Canan, Erica. So I will start with a poem that also gives the title to the book, Real Aslı. Kendisi değil, duvardaki gölgesi ağacın hayatım. İzinden bildiğim, aslını hayal meyal hatırladığım. Alışmaktır benim adım, bir teviye dönüşümler diyarında, her harfimi sil baştan yeniden yazarım. Suretlerim çok, bakıp da göremeyenlere, müesseseden hediye. Hatta parçalarımı toplamadığımdan bütün o insan kazaları sonrası, gidip bulmak isterseniz 5'i bir yerde saçılı. Olay mahalli hiç araştırılmadı. O arada yeniden kalkmanın derdindeydim ben. Önce dikilmek gerek ayağa, omurgana layık olmak aslında. Sonrası bir süre taklidi eski bir kendinin. Yaşar gibi davranmak. Sanki her şey aynı kalabilirmiş gibi. Aslı gibisin silik halinin. Kendi çoktan sureti olmuşken başsız sonsuz bir yiğisin. Hafızanın hükmü yok, çağlar boyu değişmezken hiçbir şey, hiçleşmezken bile sonsuz akışta saklanacak ne var akıştan öte? Bırakmak benim en iyi bildiğim. Başkasınınmış gibi hatırladığın eski bir hayat vardı. Heyelan altında kalmış belirsiz bir çağrışım. Neyi anımsattığını kendi bile unutmuş. Kimse var mı çığlıklarını duyarım halen, kör yıkıntı boşluklara doğru. Meğer o uğultulu sessizlik, yanıtsız kalmış umudummuş. Ölümsüzlük iksiri içmiş de dünyada unutulmuş gibi hissettiğim çok. Uzun sancı gelir önce. Uzun değil, uzayan sancı. Hakkını isteyen duyuların ağrısı. Çünkü Tutkunla varsın isminden bile önce. Çarkların firarisi ruhunla varsın. En baştan beri bildiğindi. Meşguliyet dedikleri, ezel ebed uyuşturan sefil bir yalancı. Demem o ki, çok da oyalanmayın karbon kopyalarla. Teğet geçmek sayılır nihayetinde. Geriye kalan kalpte kara bir leke. Hayat aslı gibidir cesaret edene.
My life. I know the real one from its trace. I hazily remember. My name means getting used to, in the land of endless transformations. Erase every letter of mine. I will write them over again.
I have many faces to those who look but cannot see, a gift from the establishment. I didn't even pick up my own pieces after all those human accidents. If you'd like to go and find them, 5 are scattered in one spot. The crime scene was never investigated.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to find ways to get up again. First, you need to stand up to be truly worthy of your spine. After a while, an imitation of an old self acting as if you were alive, as if everything could stay the same. You're like the original to your faded self, yourself already a copy of a dark despair with no beginning or end.
Memory is doomed. Nothing changes through the ages, even nothingness. What is there to find but the stream itself in the endless stream? Letting go is what I know best.
There was a former life that you remember as if it were someone else's, buried under a mudslide, the vaguest suggestion. Even she forgot what it reminded her of. Is anyone there? I can still hear your cries, blind rubble into the voids. The wailing turns out to be silence, my unanswered hope.
Since I drank the elixir of immortality, there are often times I feel forgotten by the world. A long ache will start up first, a pain not long but prolonged, the pain of the senses claiming their rights. Since passion makes us exist even before we are named, as do our fugitive souls, able to spring from the cogs of the machine. It's what you knew from the very start. What they call busyness is a numbed eternity, a miserable sham.
What I mean is, don't linger too long with carbon copies. In the end, they are only nearly the same. All that's left is a black stain on the heart. Life is as real as it gets for those who dare.
Yemin. Çala kalem repliklere benzemiyor yemin. Söz ver diyorsun mühürlü bir bakışla. Bana sahici kelimeni ver, kalbinin akdini. Söz diyor o da. Rıza devşiriyorsun yalanlar arasından. Kandil lambasında okumaya benziyor biraz gölgeli titrek çabası, çelik iradenin. Havında dövülme kırılganlığı en sağlam bilinin. Bakma havada uçuşan bomboş kelimelere. Söz vermek, ak büyüsü dilin. Ayağının altına zemin, arkana bakmadan düşeceğin bir bağır demek. Neremin acıdığını bilmem bir yemin bozulduğunda. Kuşlar patlar, ateş söner, taş yağar dolu niyetine. Donarım yandığım yerlerden ve unuttuğumu sanırım yemin edebilişimi. Oysa söz hakkını ister hep. Ben hiçbir yeminimden dönmedim ki. Hayata vermişim en büyük sözü, gerisi bahane. İnsan bir umuttur sadece. Kördüğüm olmuş güven zincirini ince ince çözerim, bir kez daha uzatmaya. Yine yemin ederim, sözümü isteyecek cesareti olana.
An oath is nothing like a line you might toss off. Promise, you say, with a sealed look. Give me your word, your heart's true pact. It carries promise too. You offer each other faith among all the lies. It's like reading under an oil lamp. Shadowy, it takes a steel will, the light trembling with the strain. To be so unshielded in making a promise, that is the real vulnerability. Pay no attention to those empty words floating in the air. To make a promise is language's white magic. The ground under your feet will catch you if you should fall. I can't tell where it hurts when an oath is broken. Birds would explode, the fire go out, stones would rain like hail. I would freeze in all the places I've been burned. It feels like I have lost the power ever again to make an oath. But a promise will always defend its own fundamental right. I myself have never broken an oath. The biggest promise I made to life was that the rest is just noise. What are humans but hope? Delicately, I will untangle the chain of trust till it stretches out again. To anyone who dares ask for my word, I will swear a new oath.
Eflatun, Cefe. Eflatun günleri bilir misin? Her şeyin masal olabildiği şafak saatlerini, doğmayan ya da batmayan güneşin öncesini. Sanki dünyanın tek sakini senmişsin. Sanki zaman öylece içerisinde durduğun eflatun bir balonmuş gibi. Aşkta da öyle. Eflatun günlerin içine düşmüşsün. O şarkıda diyordu ya hani, söyleyeni genç yaşta bir nehre akıp gitmişti. Şarap yaptım leylak ağacından, kalbimi katarak tarifine. İstediğimi görebileyim, istediğim insan olabileyim diye. Leylak şarabı aşkım gibi tatlı ve çarpıcı. Aşkım gibi çalkantılı hissediyorum leylak şarabı. Aşkla dururken nefesin eflatun. Saçın, gözün, dokunuşun eflatun. Yasemin, fulya, sümbül, leylak, kokular eflatun. Kocaman bir ametist kristalinin içine yerleşmişsin. Aşk kovuktur, korktuğuna koşmaktır. Zamanı durdurandır. Yerçekimsiz bir dünyada süzülürsün kaçtığın mıknatısa. Her şey bittiğinde, çünkü her şey biter, itiraz etme sakın, biter her şey sonunda. Kalbin geceleri mor, sabahları eflatun olacak yediği her yumrukla.
Lilac for Jeff. Do you know the lilac days, the hours of dawn when everything is once upon a time? The sun held in its womb before rising or setting, as if you were the world's sole passenger. As if, just like that, time was a lilac balloon and you suspended inside it. It's the same with love. You have fallen into lilac days. Just like he said in the song, he who slipped into the river and was gone so young. I made wine from the lilac tree, put my heart in its recipe, makes me see what I want to see, and be what I want to be. Lilac wine is sweet and heady, like my love. Like lilac wine, I feel unsteady, like my love. You breathe lilac when you're stood on the side of love. Your hair, your eyes, your touch are lilac. Jasmine, narcissus, hyacinth, lilac. Scents are lilac. Inside a vast egg of sparkling amethyst, you're nestled. Love is hollow. It runs towards what you fear. It halts time. In a world without gravity, you float towards the same lodestone you once escaped. When it's all over and everything comes to an end, don't even think of protesting. In the end, it all ends. Your heart is violet at night, lilac in the morning, more so with every blow.
Saç kırıklarım. Yol ayrımındır saç kırıkları, girip çıkamadığın dehlizlerindendir. Liman şehrinin hediyesi bir anda karşına çıkan deniz ferahlığı. İçine çek, son nefesimmiş gibi hem de. Sonrayı bilemezsin. Sözün içinde son var baksana. Baş neymiş unuttuğun zamanlarda. Memleketinden olmuşlar büyüteçle izliyor ayrı kaldığı toprakları. Arada o liman şehri ferahlığı güme gidiyor, teyellenememiş ruhlarında. Kalabalık salonlarda toplaşıyorlar devamını yaşayamadıkları bir hayatı, yad ve birilerini şad ederek. Esamesi okunmayan her şey alnına yazılır. Mıhlanırsın ahlarında. Gözyaşı geceye yaraşır. Yıldızı olmayan zifiri gök kubbede, efkar pek kârsız bir muharebe. Alnım ak, rüzgün, rüzgarlı sokak. Varsın hayat desinler itiş kakışlı pazar yerleri gibi uğuldayan bu boşluğa. Bizim aramızda ölüm var. Uğraksız bir ıssızada. Yol ayrımındır saç kırıkları. İçinden çıkamadığın girdaplarda onlara tutundun. Saç tellerini bıraktın kalamadığın mekanlara. Öyleymiş işte. Saçından başlarmış insan kırılmaya.
Split ends. Splintered hairs mark your crossroads, passages once entered you can't find your way out of. A port is a gift to a city, suddenly popping up before your eyes. Freshness of the sea, inhale as if this were your final breath. You only have this instant with no idea what will happen next. Look how even endure contains its own end. In the end, you forget what the beginning was. They've lost their country, watching with a magnifying glass the lands they've been separated from. Now and then the breeze of that port city fades from their untamed souls. In crowded halls they gather to reminisce an interrupted life and praise certain people to the skies. Anything that falls off the map will be written in the book of fate. You will be trapped inside your sighs. Tears suit the night. In the sky's pitch dark under no star, melancholy launches its unprofitable wars. My forehead blank, my face a windy street. Let life arrive like a bustling marketplace in this howling void. There is death between us, a deserted island in transit passage. Splintered hairs mark your crossroads. In the whirlpools you can't escape, you cling to them. You've left strands of your hair in places where you couldn't stay. That's how it is. When people break, it's their hair that first starts to split.
Yol. Neresi yeterince uzak kendimden, gereğince mesafeli. Özgürlük dedikleri çağrışımsız kalmak biraz da. Yol dediğin bellek firariliği. Medet umuyorum tren boyu akan ağaçlardan, hava alanı uğultusundan. Vapurda bir ahestelik var, eski zamanlardan kalma bir inat. Deniz eşlikli çayda bir teselli. Yollar insaflı, sadece gitme halinde kaldıkça. Varmıyorum ben de. Bir yere ulaşsam da içinde çek bavulların teker sesi. Kendimi çekiyorum geçmiş kuyusundan, yosunlu taşların arasından çelik bir kovada, ferah zamanlara yükseliyorum. Üşüdükçe güneş var, titredikçe ceket. Hayat var toprağın üstünde. Yol oldukça gidebilmek var. Kala kaldığım ne varsa onlardan gidiyorum. Başka sulardan içmeye, yeni bulutlar görmeye. Yabancı taşları okşuyorum. Dünya yine tanıdık olsun diye.
The road. Where is far enough from myself, appropriately distant? What they call freedom is to be left without associations. What you call the road is fugitive memory. I hope for succor from the trees, flowing past on the train ride from the airport's roar. There's a gentleness in the Bosphorus ferry, a stubborn survivor from ancient times, the solace of tea on the sea. Roads are merciful when they're only for leaving. Even when I arrive somewhere, I'm not getting anywhere. Roll inside me the sound of suitcases on wheels. I'm pulling myself out of the well of the past. In a steel bucket from among the moss-covered stones, I am rising towards days of ease. When you get cold, there's the sun. When you shiver, there's a jacket. There is life above ground. As long as there is a road, there is the option to go. Whatever I'm stuck with, I'm leaving with that. To drink from other waters, to see new clouds, I caress foreign stones, so the world will grow familiar again.
Yağmur. Hava içindeki damlalarla ağardı, masa susulanlarla. Şehrin üstünü kaplamıştı basınç. Kulağın uğultusu bundandı. Hani bazen gözün yan masalara takılır ya çaresizlikten. Göz göze kalırsın, hatta tanımadığın biriyle. İhtimal onun da kendinden vazgeçtiği bir eşikte. Bir çakmak el değiştirirken söylenen o şaka cümlede duralar hayat. Ateşinizi alabilir miyim? Sonrası son sigaraların şarkısı. Fazla sigaranız var mı? İlk şimşek böyle zamanlarda gelir. Hükümsüz sözlerin üzerine çakmaya. Bir aydınlatır, titrersin neon beyazlığında. Ve bilirsin, Sonumuz gök gürültüsü, susulanı patlatmaya. Ama kronolojik sıra yanıltmasın. Gök gürültüsü devamı değil şimşeğin. İkisi farklı şeyler anlatır. Ve bazen bütün o görkemli susmuşluğun, yalanların ortasında dermansızdır yağmurun rahmeti. Geç kalır. Avutamaz, ıslattığıyla kalır. Toprağın kokusundan utanırsın. Sağanak sesi, damlaların cinneti. Bir şarkı vardı içinden yağmur geçer. Hatırlayamazsın ihtiyaç duyarken.
Rain. The air was heavy with the drops it held, the table with the things kept unsaid. Pressure had smothered the city. That's why your ears were ringing. You know how sometimes your gaze slides to the other tables out of desperation. You find yourself eye to eye with someone you don't know, perhaps at the very moment they give up on themselves. What's said when a lighter changes hands? Life stutters at that expression, funny when you think about it. Can I have a light? What follows is the song of last smokes. Have you got a spare cigarette? At times like this, the first lightning flashes, striking at worthless words. With everything illuminated, you find yourself trembling under its neon whiteness, and you know will end in thunder, causing the unsaid to explode. But don't be fooled by chronological order. Thunder is not a continuation of lightning. They each tell different stories, and sometimes, in all your glorious silence, and in the midst of your lies, the mercy of rain is weakened and delayed. It cannot console. All the rain can do by this point is make you wet. You'll feel ashamed by the smell of the soil, the sound of the downpour, the mad rage of its drops. There was a song the rain fell through. As long as you need it, the tune will escape you. Thank you.
Hello. So glad to see me again, aren't you? Thank you so much. Could everyone have another round of applause for our fantastic readers, for Sarah, for Canan, and for Karin. I covered my fiddling about with my papers by your applause. Do you see how I did that? That was seamless, wasn't it? So thank you so much, and welcome back. And we're now going to share what I hope will be a lively and inspiring discussion with our poets and translators. After which, we're very welcome to ask your burning questions from the floor, but we are going first. It is the privilege of rank. So I would like to start with a question for Karin, although obviously I'm hoping in a very natural and in no way forced or awkward way, Canan and Sarah will join in as well. And my question is basically this. So the title of the collection is Real. And the more I thought about this, the more significant that title felt. We live at a time when what is real is increasingly contested and difficult to determine. For example, we now have this sort of proliferation of spurious information, conspiracy theories and whatnot, parading itself as fact. We have the top-down political propaganda of various kinds. And there are also these huge areas of discursive denial or silence, these acts of erasure against histories and lives. In this context, to call the collection real feels like a provocation. So I wonder if you could speak a little bit about the choice of the title, the impetus for writing these poems within that broader political and social context.
Thank you, Fran. Well, our personal lives coincide with certain milestones in history. And in my case, I had to live through and witness the loss of dear ones through assassinations, bombings. We still suffer the imprisonment of political opponents. Many of them are dear friends. Many more are yet forced to exile. And meanwhile, life goes on as if nothing unbearable, unacceptable happens at all. Social media and press controlled by the government distort reality on a daily basis. Plus, not only history is denied through official narration based on lies and omissions, our very present moment is attempted to be stolen. What means do we have to apply other than investigative journalism, independent press, and art, inevitably? My poetry, in this sense, is devoted to truth, something I try to chase and protect, something I cherish because otherwise my whole life would become a lie itself. And I desperately rely on my inner voice, also on the voices of those who were and still are deprived of their right to express themselves. And there is this ultimate strength of human story I believe in. No totalitarian power can crush it. You cannot deny, you cannot oppose a simple human story. It will blossom each and every time whenever we just reach out to each other and chant it like a prayer. So that's my contribution with poetry.
Wow. Thank you so much, Karin. I would like to open that question up also to Sarah and to Canan, and to ask really if there is something about the sort of art of poetry and translation in particular that enables you to express or expose facts and truths that other forms of writing or art are unable to reach?
Yes, I'm sure that the adventures of metaphor that Karin's poems take us on sort of open up new possibilities of thought. I found myself making a note in the margin of one of the versions we were working on, and it was what is the plural of someone? Because in English, I think there was no, equivalent for the slight anonymity of someone, but in the plural. And I find one of the things I find so moving about the poems in this new collection is the way that they anatomize the different kinds of bonds between people. So in the very early stages of working on the translations, I kept, in my misunderstanding and misprision, saying to Canan, every time a word like oath came up or vow, I was like, is this a romantic thing? Is this some sort of marriage vow between people? And then like Canan quickly enlightened me, and it was very much not. It's like thinking about what sort of bonds of loyalty and integrity can be made between two people, but then larger structures of people as well. And there's this feeling I have in reading these poems of a sort of prisoner's game constantly of, who can you trust among your fellow conspirators or revolutionaries or whatever. And yeah, I'm sure thinking about these really deeply political things about the structure of human beings in poetry is one of the most compelling ways to think about them, I think.
I love what you say about the romantic, and because this is what in Karin's poetry is closest to truth, right? She looks at details and try to find beauty and hope in the smaller details of life, in everyday life, but set in such a violent political context. And even that is for me, I see it always as a way of survive as a human being. Is survival. Art, poetry is survival when you have to live in, fascism, or which is the case in many countries, and becoming more and more in Western Europe. People don't name it like that, but it is becoming extreme right everywhere. Where I live, in the Netherlands, for instance, but the context of Turkey is also very violent, and being able to find the beauty there and have this hope still alive, I think that's what you can do with poetry and many other art forms, poetry specifically, and translation through what we did here, the magic, the three of us, Karin, Karin, Sarah, and myself. It's also a way to go against, to try to create truth through beauty.
I think that's a really beautiful way of putting it. One of the things that does come up in that collection a lot is this sort of idea of the responsibility, I think, to happiness and to joy. So I want to ask the question to Karin and to John and to Sarah as well about the responsibility that poets, that all artists bear for to collective memory, to preserving memory, to thinking about the poem as a memorial space that can carry those dead, but also the responsibility to joy and to laughter. I wonder if I could ask Karin first to speak to that.
Well, the basic nature and the feeling of poetry is really like a dream to me. I find it very elusive, even if I give it so much hard work and structure. So I see poetry also in this sense very close to the way we remember things, because our memories are reshaped and retold differently in each and every context and according to how long time has passed. So both on personal level and also collectively, poetry for me is a fascinating medium to convey soul of people and also to break the silence, specifically for those, to return the voice to the actual owners. In this way, history also can be healed in present, in the way we honor it. And poetry thus becomes something providing both shelter and also turning itself to a platform. So when you need it, you can hide within it. And in case there is this urgency, you can rise up on the platform.
I love that. I love that idea as poetry as a shelter, kind of like a shield and a sword in one. That's brilliant. And I'd love to sort of ask John and Sarah to kind of join this conversation, thinking about the responsibility of translators in particular for carrying and communicating sort of memories and histories across languages and cultures.
Yeah, the responsibility of the translator is always a discussion that comes in translation studies for every translator. So you are translating somebody else's voice. You are working with somebody else's voice and soul and heart, and so yes, there is responsibility, that level, and then there is the collective memory, the history, the cultural context, the political. All of this comes also together, and we don't always get it right. I have to tell you, not all the translations you read, sometimes, we may sometimes interpret things in our own way, because I believe you translate with your biography. You bring who you are to the translation process. And that person, I believe in fluid identities, so that can change depending on which context you are based and how you feel, your emotions. You translate with your body, with your heart, with your soul, not only with your mind. So all these come, it's not just an intellectual process. It's much stronger, much more powerful than that, at least to me. I'm not saying every translator works this way. This is how I work. And in the case of Turkey, Turkey is the country where I was born. My parents migrated from Turkey to Western Europe. So I've always seen Turkey misrepresented in mainstream media, in Western European narratives, the Orientalism of it. And nobody knows anything about Turkey when I spoke, when I was speaking to people. They had all these images. And I wanted to break that through translation, translating important works. And that's when I found Karin's work. And I'm like, oh, everybody should read this. Everybody should have access to this voice,
really
because Yes, because I mean, it will give people extra layers about this collective memory, about our stories, and it is personal and collective. So all these together bring complexity to, because Karin, you don't write about Turkey. Karin Karakaşlı's poetry. It's not Turkish Armenian poetry. It's Karin Karakaşlı. And that I find very important, because that's also something people shouldn't think they're going to learn about Armenian genocide when they read this. No, it's not about that at all. It's that's the beauty of poetry and translation, the importance of translation, to break those stereotypes and to come back to the idea of truth, creating our own truth. So yeah, I feel very responsible when translating, and that's why I believe collaborative approach like what we did is the answer to that responsibility, because we do it together. Like every practices we have in society, we need to think more collectively about everything if we want to build a better world. It's the same with translation, it's the same with creativity, with art. When we do it together, we share the responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I would just like to get Sarah's take on this as well. And I would like you guys to talk a little bit about, because I know that translation in general is this wonderful collaborative sort of building of literary solidarity, but this project for you guys was really special because it's been a long time in the making. I just want you to talk a little bit about, we're just both pointing microphones at Sarah. We're like, here, take a microphone, pick me.
Canan brought Erica, the PTC's fantastic editor, and I a gift today, which I haven't had a chance to thank you for properly. So I opened up this box this afternoon, and inside was a talisman against the evil eye, made of glass, sort of layered glass that had been different colours superimposed to make an eye symbol, I suppose, to ward off evil. And in the note accompanying this gift, it described how the glassmakers, in order to create these objects, have to work in a perfect synergy of 4 people working together at exactly the same time, performing the right actions. And I thought, oh my goodness, Canan, this is the most beautiful metaphor that you have given me to put on my desk for the process collaboratively that we went through making this book. And in that 4, I very much count Erica, who in the last stages was so invaluable. And in fact, that brilliant line that you heard earlier about how endure contains its own end, that one came from Erica. Because we were like, yeah, how do we do this wordplay? And then, she nailed it. And I think there was a special alchemy of the coming together. And it was really interesting because, of course, we've done this twice now. And in the first sweep, Karin, 6-7 years ago, was really sort of scrupulous about wanting to give us our reign and our freedom as translators. She didn't want to be in the conversations. She said she trusted us absolutely. And that worked really well. I loved our duo, Canan and I working together. But this time, and I think that this is to do with the changing character of her work over that time, that it's so much more difficult and knotty and complex, both in the Turkish and in the English rendering. Some of these moments, there were just these cruxes that we just sort of were like, I think we need to ask Karin now. And so she joined our conversations, and it shifted the process really interestingly, partly because I think the parallel texts meant that Karin was really thinking, right, we've got a poem in Turkish here, and then we need to make a new poem that works in English just as well. And so she would sort of counsel these departures from the Turkish that we would never have considered. And it was sort of like watching a jazz musician composing or riffing in front of our eyes. It was kind of amazing.
Yeah, Karin was incredible in that sense. And that's why the shared response, it was even more than that. She was creating new poetry in English with us. And that makes it totally magic.
Wow, it's like the sort of the white hot crucible of creation. You're getting to see it take place in the moment. So I'm very jealous of that. I don't know whether I have anything for that apart from my burning jealousy. But I do wonder, maybe Karin, if it's okay, you would like to speak a little bit about how your process has changed down the years from that first collection that you did, and why you were sort of slightly more hands-on on this occasion.
Well, I owe it first and foremost to Canan. She carved this way for my poetry with her faith, hard work, and persistence since decades. Sarah, on the other hand, came just the present, so unexpected and exhilarating. And of course, right above there, as the sheltering tent, there was always Erica. By Sarah, it was so unbelievable for me, and it still is, that for a poet to lend your voice to another poet's universe so willingly and so generously. Okay, but if you decide to do this, you rather go to the great deceased masters, somehow close to your culture. And you should really see us in the process. It's a little bit hard to describe, but without exaggeration, it's somehow close to a ritual. So whenever I think I see us like witches round that bonfire deep in the forest, and Sarah already used the expression alchemy. We were also transformed. What they describe as jazz or coming up somehow with a new version in English, I rather felt uh, um, freeing myself from my own poetry. Yeah, because there were these huge metaphors each and every time. The poetry starts with a huge battle in your mother tongue against your own grammar, against your own limitations. So it's inevitable that even if the most authentic, original things you come up, it's always bound to your first station. Rather than being stuck to these metaphors, I wanted to preserve the feeling, because there were so much synergy among us with mind, heart, body, and soul. So translation really was, in a sense, redefined, free from all the mechanics, and it gave me really so much freedom. I couldn't believe that I needed this freedom from my own poetry without idolizing it, objectifying it, and be ready to just flow, so that we really come with the equivalent and we really find you guys there.
Thank you so much, and I'm so there for the image of all of you as witches working. I think that's fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the space for questions from the floor. So if you raise your hand and when I point you out, you say your question, I'll repeat the question into the microphone for Karin. So anybody, don't be shy. Could we have the lights up so I can actually see people? I can see party hats shining in the distance, but I can't. There we go. Any questions? Oh, at the back there, Helen.
I wonder if you could speak about whether the translation process has affected your own writing in any way. I mean, all three of you are obviously writers, so whether that collaboration has affected how you write yourselves.
So the question is, how has the translation process affected the way that you write yourselves? And I'm gonna give my microphone to Sarah first, and then if Janet and Karin hop in.
I hope it will make me more daring. I feel like it was so interesting inhabiting Karin's really quite abstemious technical constraints she sets for herself. Like the poems are almost completely unpunctuated. She almost entirely shears them off from the resources of enjambement. And so, yeah, I feel like I want to experiment with these kinds of constraints myself in my own work.
Canan, do you want to hop in as well?
Translation is always part of everything I write. So now, thanks to this process, I also am more daring in challenging the languages I work in and including more multilingualism into my work through this translation process. So that's for me is it's a process that goes on and on.
Karin, how about yourself?
Well, I always regarded the creative part of poetry writing as very alienating and lonesome. Now that I have this wonderful collaborative memory there, I feel I'm ready to do battle with allies. So I feel more peaceful.
I love that. Do we have any more questions? Don't be shy. Yes.
One of the lovely things about the evening was the sense of smiling, which was constant in the reading, either and listening between and I wanted to come back in the sense of laughter, because forgive me if I give a slightly personal example, but I co-translate a Iranian poet, a woman who lives in London, and some people find that incredibly painful, and yet when we at times manage to come upon, and it is an alchemy, without doubt, a translation that works, of a painful poem, when the language comes, we laugh, even though the stuff of the poetry is so painful. But there is that laughter and that wonderful suggestion of joy that you were talking about earlier. So it's not really a question, but I just wondered if that if it can happen.
Yeah, thank you. So the question, Karin, is can you speak a little bit about the sense of laughter and play and joy in your work? Because I really found it this huge sustaining, I've also found this huge sustaining presence in the text, just how funny and how sort of like witty and chimerical and live in all the ways that counts it is. So if you could speak a little bit about that, that would be great.
So there are actually two sources, I would say. One is children, the childhood in general, how unrestrained and so spiteful we were. This is one thing to remember, and the other is irony. Both come to my rescue, and not only in poetry. I have also this habit of laughing a lot about myself, making fun of myself. So it's a kind of, again, also a survival mechanism and a very energetic means to explore more inner and deeper layers in poetry. When you take yourself or the work not so seriously, you come in the end to the utmost serious one, and you will be taken seriously because you have poured yourself out. You have risked to make fun of something, and you have somehow also captured in a way our conflicts, like sometimes I love when I hear something terrible and I cry out of joy. And to capture all this, what else is there other than asylum? There is poetry.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think the poetry, it can give us permission to laugh at things that are perhaps terrible, because when we need that release, where else can we go? And I wonder if our translators would, particularly about the use of irony, which does really, that playful kind of irony that does come across in the translation, was that difficult to kind of capture that? Missy John's passing the microphone to Sarah there. Sarah gets to answer this one.
Yes.
I think this is where Janan's sort of deep and long understanding of not only Karin's poetic and linguistic intelligence, but of her sensibility and sympathetic, all came in. That you were able to intuit the layer on the top, and then the layer underneath, and then the layers underneath those, and to explain them to me as well.
Yeah, I think the process of explaining also, and the generosity in our way of working, the three of us, I think that's a word we didn't use enough tonight, generosity, really, because, and not being afraid also of, so just saying how we feel about the poem. So I would explain, you remember, I would explain to you, this is, and then because I recorded myself having these stream of consciousness moments to to help Sarah in her translation. And I realized I was just, oh no, but I misunderstood this. This is not what Karin means. That's not possible. And then I was just recording this and just send it to Sarah as it is. I didn't edit it out. I thought, it's okay. I'm making a mistake as we go, but I'm seeing it, and maybe we can work it out. Maybe we can do something with that. And that generosity from my side, but then the generosity, your generosity in receiving it, Erica's generosity while editing, and of course Karin, because Karin has accepted all our choices. I mean, Karin, you never said no, this is not. It was very rare, only when we misunderstood. So that was really freedom. Yeah. So it was difficult, but not difficult actually, because we allowed ourselves to in the process. Yeah.
Thank you. So Erica is telling me that we have time for one more question. So would somebody with a burning question like to leap up? Or I'm going to interpose myself. No, oh, great. Thank you, Saviour. Gentleman in the party head of that there.
Does the process of translating poetry from Turkish to English, does that affect your desire to actually use your bilingualism in the poetry that you write originally?
Oh, that's a really good question. So, Karin, the question is, does the translation process for this particular project affect your desire to use bilingualism in the poetry that you write generally? Am I construing that right?
Yeah. So I'm familiar with one particular poet that has written in Arabic and English in the same original poem.
So I'm going to open this up to Sarah first, I think, to sort of talk about using bilingualism in poetry. I'm going to pass her my mic.
Yeah, I probably would do that more. I might have to improve my not very existent bilingualism first, but
maybe for Karin it's Armenian. It could be interesting to ask about Armenian and Turkish and the relationship with Armenian.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Karin. So if you would talk a little bit about perhaps your work between and across Armenian and Turkish, and the way that you're using those in your poems generally, in your practice more generally.
So I was a bilingual child, born and raised, but when you choose a literary language, you actually create your own one. And so as a layer, I chose Turkish, but that's my language, so it's not specifically and necessarily Turkish. And I also studied translation studies. I was always eager learning new languages, not only the ones given to me from birth. So yeah, during the creative process, I'm open not only to this bilingual heritage, but also to each and every authentic piece of word and expression that are somehow that not only belong to the language in question, but are also given as a kind of generosity again to the huge library and word book of humanity. So right now, for instance, I'm learning Norwegian, although there is no job process and nothing in perspective, but the sound of it makes me happy. So guess what? You maybe see something Scandinavian in the poetry. And remember this evening.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I'm currently learning Irish, so at the moment I'm really just it's just the sound of it. The sound of it can bring you joy, I think. Yeah. So, Janan, would you like to come in on the last question
About multilingualism.
about multilingualism? Because you are the most, I think, the most multilingual person in the room, possibly.
Well, I believe I always quote Edouard Glissant talking about multilingualism, that no writer ever writes in a monolingual manner. I'm just paraphrasing now, but this is because we are all surrounded by languages. Whether I don't believe a monolingual person exists, even if you think you only speak one language. We are surrounded, especially London. You know, you walk out the street and it's like dozens of languages around you, printed, you hear it. And so in your imagination, we all have many languages. So that I strongly believe in. And you'll see, go out and look around you, start listening, and start counting the different languages you are hearing and seeing. And you will be amazed how many languages you carry with you. So writers, poets, they are always multilingual, I think. And that comes into your writing in one way or another. Yes.
I love that contention. There is no such thing as a monolingual person. I'm going to carry that with me out into the world. And I'm going to carry it with me back to my seat now because we have time for one special bonus poem. I'm going to take it away, Karin, Janan, and Sarah.
Thank you so much, Fran. There's a sound stronger than words. Shh. Shh. Let's not speak. Let's stay silent as if we agree to the sound of the eye, to the sentence of the hand. Let's wake up the good news printed on your face. We're thick as thieves behind closed doors.
Shared silence is amber, honeyed balloon, lava on the breath. It is lapis, gold dust within dark blue night sky memory. A brave spider, skilled in keeping secrets, has threaded its web between me and the one I can share my silence with. There will be no acrobatics but a thread, a knot to hold on to, so as not to crash this time. Sometimes words are very hard. They're a pavement, after all. A lukewarm death with my blood still flowing. An accident I cannot forget.
Shh. Shh. Let's not speak. Let the bright dust pollinate its flower. Let emptiness branch and sweeten, because sometimes it can be hollow, the silence between two.
Kelimeden güçlü ses var. Konuşmayalım. Anlaşmaya susalım. Gözün sesine, elin cümlesine, yüzün müjdesine uyanalım. biz bizeyiz mahremine. Kehribardır paylaşılan suskunluk. Balonlur bal, lavın içindeki nefes. Lapistir, lacivertin içindeki altın tozu. Gece göğü hatırası. Cesur, ketum bir örümcek ipliğini örmüş sustuğumla aramda. Cambazlık yapılmayacak. Bir ip, bir ilmek tutunmaya. Yani bu kez çakılmamaya. Kelimeler bazen çok sert. Çok sert bir kaldırım ne de olsa. Kanımın aktığı ılık bir ölüm. Unutmadığım bir kaza. Şşş, şşş, koşmayalım. Çiçek tozu dölensin, dallansın, ballansın boşluk. Kovuktur çünkü bazen. 2 kişilik suskunluk.
Thank you so much, Karin. I have a confession to make. I was supposed to stay there, but I was overwhelmed with excitement, so I just ran back to my seat. I'm very sorry. But all that remains for me to do now is to thank again our wonderful readers and translators, and of course Karin, just for this astonishing book that I highly recommend, nay demand you now leave and buy and support the Poetry Translation Centre, who are bringing people together and sharing this wonderful work with the world. And also to say thank you to Theatreship for hosting us this evening. Everybody, round of applause, huge, stomping round of applause, whooping, shouting, put your party hats back on, reach out your glasses and celebrate this brilliant book. And this, honestly, this wonderful poet, I am so happy that I have found Karin's work, and I am never letting it go. Thank you.